Hold on, let me go ahead and start it from the beginning. Okay.
Hi kids! Today we will learn comparing and ordering numbers up to millions. Let's first learn how to compare two numbers.
Bella, make sure we have our camera off. That way the video looks a little smoother for everybody.
There are always two cases in comparing numbers. When the number of digits in two numbers are different, sum is that the number with more number of digits is bigger than the number with lesser number of digits.
Okay, so first thing they tell us is whenever you're comparing numbers, if you see a number that has more digits, more places, then you can usually assume that this number is going to be bigger because there's more place value involved. They give us an example of 36 and comparing it to 6,789. 36 only goes to the tens place. But 6,789 goes all the way to the thousands. So since this number goes up to thousands and hundreds, it's going to be bigger than the 36.
23 is less than 678. As 23 is a two-digit number and 678 is a three-digit number. Here is another example. Here we have two numbers. Digits in both the numbers are different. This is four-digit number and this is six-digit number. So we need not compare the numbers. Simply, the number with more number of digits is bigger. Second case is when the number of digits in two numbers is same. Let's learn how we compare numbers when the number of digits in two numbers is same. First, we compare the numerals at the biggest place in the numbers.
Okay. So, like they told us, if one number is larger, has more digits than the other one, it makes your job pretty simple. It makes your job very simple to just figure out which number is bigger, which number is smaller. The trick is that that's not always going to be the case. There are going to be times where you're going to compare numbers that have the exact same number of digits. If you have two numbers that have the same number of digits, you have to be a little more careful when you compare them. You'd always start off, like she said, with whatever place value is the biggest. In the case of these two numbers, I have ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. The thousands is my biggest place value, which means I'm going to start by looking at the numbers in the thousands. If I can tell, and I'm just looking at thousands, so I'm going to ignore the hundreds and everything else for now. If I just look at the thousands, it's much easier, much simpler for me to go, okay, which one's bigger, a 2 or a 4? And once I know which one is bigger, which number is bigger?
So we will compare the thousands place here. 4 is bigger than 2. So the number with bigger numeral at the biggest place is bigger. So 4,000 is bigger than 2,000. Let's take another example. Here too, the numbers have equal number of digits. Both have 6 digits. First,
Christopher, make sure we have our cameras off while we're watching the video, sir. That way it runs a little smoother for everyone.
we compare the digits at the biggest place. Both are same. So compare the next digits. Again, both are same. So move the next digit. 9 is bigger than 6.
Okay, they give us another example here. If I go to the biggest place value, which in this case is my 100,000s, I go to compare my numbers, and I notice that they're the same digit. In this case, 7 and 7. If my number is 7 and 7, I can't tell which one is bigger, because 7 is equal to 7. If I can't tell in the biggest place value, then I'm going to move down one place value. I go from the 100,000s to the 10,000s. And I check again. I have an 8, an 8. Again, I can't see which one is bigger because 8 is equal to 8. So I have to move again. Move down to the thousands place. I have a 9 and a 6. Here I can finally see a difference. I know the 9 is bigger than the 6, so that means my top number is bigger than the bottom number.
In whichever number we get bigger number first, while comparing each digit, starting from the biggest place, that number is bigger. So, 789,000 is more than 786,000. Let's take another example. We have to compare these numbers, and both have same number of digits. Let's start comparing digits from left. And in whichever number we get the bigger digit first, that number will be bigger than the other one. Comparing the leftmost digits, both are same. So compare the next digits again. Both are same. Compare the next digit. Here, 8 is more than 6. So this number is bigger number.
I want you to notice how they do it. They always start at the same, or they start in the same way. They always start by looking at the biggest place value first. Then, if you can't find a difference, if they're both the same, like here is 9 and 9, they move to the next biggest place value. They only go one place value at a time. Notice that they're not just skipping around and trying to find whatever differences. They're being very careful, going one place value at a time. First the millions, 100,000, then 10,000.
So kids, let's revise. When the number of digits in two numbers is same, compare the digits to two numbers starting from the left. And in whichever number you get the bigger number first, that number is the bigger number. So now, kids, now you know how to compare two numbers, no matter how bigger they are. Now let's arrange these numbers in increasing order. That is, from smallest to biggest number. Which one is the smallest number here? 78,967 and 90,909 have the least number of digits, so they are the smallest numbers.
So they don't always give us just two numbers like they did in this example here. They gave us 5, and they want us to go ahead and order them starting with the least, the smallest, and going to the greatest, the biggest. So notice what she did there. She first started off by finding whatever numbers have the least amount of digits. In this case, these two numbers. Now, unfortunately, there's not a number that has the fewest amount of digits. These ones are tied. So we're going to have to check these ones to see which number is smaller and which one is bigger.
Now, compare them for the smaller number between these. Comparing the first digits, we get 78,967 is a smaller number. So, 78,967 is smallest. So place it first and cross it from the list. Now, 90,909 is smallest.
She does something very smart here. When she finds a number to put in her list, she crosses it out. So she doesn't accidentally use it twice or put it somewhere else. Once she knows its place, she crosses it out so she doesn't have to worry about it anymore.
As it has the least number of digits among the numbers left. So place it at second place and cross it too from the list. Now, 100,000 has the least number of digits among the numbers left. So place it next and cross it from the list.
So we didn't even have to check this number because we can see that it's shorter than all the others. We know that it has to go next. Now the last two here, there's not a shorter number, so we have to actually check those.
Now, numbers left are same digit numbers, so compare them. Comparing their first digits from left, that is 9 and 7. We get 9,999,999. So place it at the last place. And place 7,890,900 at the second place. And our increasing order is done. We have arranged the numbers from smallest to biggest. Now, let's learn about smallest and greatest numbers of particular digits. Kids, here is an interesting pattern of smallest and biggest numbers of particular digits. 1 is the smallest one-digit number. 9 is the largest one-digit number. 10 is the smallest two-digit number. 99 is the largest two-digit number. 100 is the smallest three-digit number. 999 is the largest three-digit number. 1000 is the smallest four-digit number. And 9,999 is the largest four-digit number.
So we can start to see a pattern here. Who can see what the pattern is? What do we notice about these numbers? You can just type your answers in the chat. What's the pattern that we can start to see with these numbers? You can either talk about the largest numbers or the smallest numbers. What do we start to see over and over again in these numbers? You're right. It's repeating the numbers, but it's just getting longer. So the largest numbers, we have 9, then 99, then 999, and then 9,999. So we see this pattern here. There is one thing I would say that they messed up here with the one-digit numbers, is the smallest one-digit number would be 0. But even with that, we start to see a pattern. 0, 10, 100, 1000. So the smaller numbers are the zeros and the ones. The larger numbers are 9s.
And so on. Let's see an interesting thing. If you add 1 to biggest one-digit number, you get the smallest two-digit number. That is, adding 1 to 9, you get 10. If you add 1 to biggest two-digit number, you get smallest three-digit number. That is, adding 1 to 99, you are getting 100. And if you add 1 to biggest three-digit number, you get smallest four-digit number. That is, adding 1 to 999, you will get 1000. Now, we will learn how to make biggest and smallest numbers from the given numbers. Here are 4 numbers. We have to form the largest four-digit number using these numbers only. Also, we do not have to repeat any number. Okay, kids, let me help you do that. We have to make a four-digit number. We need to have the biggest number at biggest place value to make the biggest number. So, place the biggest number, that is 8, at thousands place. Now, place the next biggest number at next biggest place. So place 7 at the hundreds place. Now, place the next biggest number at next biggest place. So place 5 at the thousands place. Now place the last number at the ones. So place 3 at the ones place.
So here, instead of comparing numbers, we're creating a number. They gave us a list, 3, 8, 7, 5. If I wanted to make the biggest number that I could using these digits, then I should always start with whatever digit is the biggest. So in this case, I'd start with 8. Again, she did something very smart here. She crossed it out when she used it. Then she had 3, 7, and 5 left. Between those 3 digits, 7's the next biggest. So that's the next number to put. Crosses it out. Then we had 5 and 3. 5 is the next biggest. So that's the digit that goes next. Again, we cross it out. Finally, we're left with 3, which is the smallest one, the only one left. We put that in the last place value that we had.
So we have made the biggest number using the numbers given to us. So 8,753 is the biggest number that you can make using the given digits without repeating any digit. So kids, you just need to always arrange numbers in decreasing order if you want to make the biggest number out of them. And you just need to always arrange the numbers in increasing order if you want to make the smallest number.
Yes, Nakai.
91 minutes left until lunch.
It's the same time every day, Nakai, 11:30. It's not even 11 yet. Right now, it is 10:52, which means that we have 38 minutes.
Okay.
If you're hungry, you could always start eating early. I mean, you're at your house. But I do want you to focus on the math.
Okay.
Let's see. If you simply arrange these numbers in increasing order, that is 3,578, you have formed the smallest number possible out of.
So if you want to make a small number, you just do the opposite. Instead of starting with the biggest digit you have, you start with the smallest digit. You'd have the 3 first, 5, and 7, and you save the biggest digit for last.
Of given digits. So kids, today we have learned a lot about comparing numbers, biggest and smallest numbers of particular digits, and also how we can form the biggest and smallest numbers out of the given digits. So kids, now you may go ahead and take a quiz to learn more.
We're not going to take a quiz. It's a little early for us. We just started this today. But we are going to do some work. What I want you to do is, I told you earlier to go ahead and get your math packets. I want you to find a stapled stack of papers that looks like this. Okay? And it says compare and order 1A. That's the very first page, but it's not the page we're doing. Let me go ahead and switch my camera and you can see what page we're going to be starting on. Whenever you're comparing numbers, place value chart is very, very, very useful. The problem is that they don't normally give us a place value chart because they don't always think that these are place value questions, but they are. I'm going to show you an example of how we would solve these. We're going to start with problem 1. They give us 2 numbers, and I have a blank space in between. And I only have 2 answer choices. Greater than or less than. Sebastian, make sure we have our papers out, okay? That way we can follow along. I'm going to take these 2 numbers and I'm going to put them into a place value chart. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 spaces on my place value chart. Now notice I don't make my place value charts super long. I don't really need them to be. I'm only comparing two numbers. If you're only going to compare two numbers, you don't need to have a very long place value chart. I'm going to put my numbers in the exact same way they were written for me. I'm going to start with the first number they gave me. 3, there's a comma. I want to make sure that I include my commas to help me line them up. Oh, good, so you had some practice last year. 2, 6, 3, comma. 4, 7. There's the first number. Now I'm going to copy the second number. And if I copied everything correctly, I should notice that my commas will line up. 3, comma. 2, 6, 4, comma. 3, 8, 7. And there's my second number. All right. Now I told you that place value chart is probably the most useful thing you could have on your paper for these kinds of questions. But there's something else that is almost as useful. Once you have the place value chart, the next most useful thing is just your hand. The reason why your hand is so useful is because it lets you block out everything you don't need to see. One big mistake people will make is when they're comparing numbers, and especially when we're comparing numbers that are this big, have this many place values. They just try to look at them with their eyes and try to figure out which one is bigger, which one's smaller. If you look with your eyes, there's tons of places that you could look and the numbers might not be lined up correctly, or you might be looking too quickly and might make a mistake. So, don't do that. Making the place value chart, very simple. I didn't hurt my hand. There's no cuts, there's no bruises, there's no breaks, there's no fractures. Hand's just fine. And this next thing isn't going to hurt your hand either. I'm going to cover up almost all of my place value chart. Almost everything. And I just want to see one place value at a time. If I block out all of my other numbers, all the other digits, and I just look at one digit at a time, it becomes so much simpler for me to see which number is bigger and which number is smaller. And notice I'm starting with the biggest place value first. Always start with the biggest place value. So if I start here, I have a 3 and a 3. Am I able to tell with a 3 and a 3 which number is bigger? No, because a 3 and a 3 are the same number. There's not a bigger and smaller yet. If I can't tell the difference, then I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to move it just a little bit. So now I can see the next place value. And I check again. If I see a 2 and a 2, can I tell which number is bigger or smaller? No, because 2 is the same as 2. I'm going to take my hand and move it again. 6 and a 6. Can I tell which number is bigger yet? No, they're still equal. 6 is the same as 6. I'm going to move my hand again. 3 and 4. Can I tell the difference between, or can I tell which number is bigger between 3 and 4? Haley. The 4 is bigger, which means this number, my second number, or the bottom number, is the bigger number. When I just have two numbers to compare, I use the star. I put a star next to my big number. The other thing I've seen people use is they'll use the letter B and the letter S for big and for small. Whichever way you want to do it is up to you. Whatever way works better and whatever way makes more sense for you is the number you should use, or the method that you should use. Now I need to go back to my question. I said that my second number was the big one. I can put my star, or I can put the letter B on it, however I want to do it. And now I have to fill in that blank. A says is greater than. B says is less than. So, if this is my smaller number, should the smaller number be greater than the big number? Or should my small number be less than the big number? Ezekiel? Less than. Because greater than means bigger. My small number can't be bigger than the big number. That makes no sense. It's the small number. So my answer should be B. Okay. Problem 2. Problem 2 is very similar, but it looks very different. Don't let that fool you. Again, they give us two numbers. And this time, instead of giving us a blank space, they give us a circle. And if I look my answer choices, again, I only have two, but my answer choices are very different. Instead of saying bigger or greater or less or smaller, I just have these two little arrows. Just real quick, show of hands if you remember seeing these arrows in math last year. Okay, some of us did. That's good. We're going to talk about those arrows really quickly before we solve this one. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can remember how these symbols work, but what these symbols are greater than and less than symbols. This first one, answer choice F, is the greater than symbol. Answer choice G is the less than symbol. Again, there's multiple ways you can use to remember this. Okay? Number 1. Some people think of like a crocodile or an alligator. Crocodiles and alligators are larger animals and they like to eat. So, if a crocodile or an alligator had two pieces of food, one piece of food on one side and one piece of food on the other side, when the alligator is hungry, it's not going to go and take a little piece of food, like a little snack, and go, oh, that was enough, I'm full. It's going to try to eat the big piece of food. So the alligator, and I've seen people kind of draw little teeth to remind themselves, the alligator is going to try to bite, try to eat whatever food is bigger. So the same way, this symbol, when I put the teeth in it, is going to try to bite, try to eat whatever number is bigger. Okay? There's one way of remembering it. Not a bad way, but here's another one. If I have that symbol, and then I put a circle around it, It looks like Pac-Man. I know it's a really old video game, but if you've ever played Pac-Man, or if you've ever seen Pac-Man, you know Pac-Man is this little yellow dot, and he goes around the screen and he goes wonka 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 wonka, and he eats a bunch of dots. The whole point of Pac-Man is to eat as many dots as you can. You gotta keep eating dots and eating dots and eating dots. So when I draw the circle around it, I remember that Pac-Man always wants more dots. He always wants more. So whatever side Pac-Man's trying to eat is the side that has more, the side that's bigger. So there's a second way that you can remember. Hang on, Violet, I'll answer your question right now, okay? I want to show you one last way you can use to remember this. You can remember an alligator. You can remember Pac-Man. Yes, ma'am. No. There's a one last way you can remember it. When I have the symbol, if I take my pencil and I put a dot at every endpoint. So I have 2 points over here, 1 point over here. You can remind yourself the side with 2 dots has more. Got 2 dots on that side, 1 dot on the other side. So there's a third way. So if you want to remember it with the dots, use the dots. If you remember better using the alligator, use the alligator. Or if you remember better using Pac-Man, use Pac-Man. Whatever way works for you, that's the best way to use. Yes, Violet. It does. So for me personally, I tend to use Pac-Man. But again, if you don't really get it that way, don't use it. Use one of the other ones. Whichever one makes the most sense for you. But you solve this problem the same way you did number 1. We're going to take our numbers and put them in a place value chart. If I count my digits again, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to do the same thing. 7 places. And again, I don't have to make this a very long place value chart. It doesn't have to go from the top of my page to the bottom. I just need enough room to put 2 numbers. That's it. Not a whole lot. I'm going to copy my numbers. And again, I'm going to start with the first number they gave me. 2, 4, 9, 9, 9, 4, 6. Now again, when I copy the second number, I want to pay close attention to those commas. If my commas are lined up, I did a good job. If my commas are not lined up, I messed up. 2, 4, 9, 9, 3, 9, 5. My commas are lined up. I did a good job. Nothing's messed up. Well, I have my place value chart. Most important thing. Second most important thing, my hand. And again, I'm going to cover up not everything. I don't want to be completely blind to my numbers, but I want to cover up most of them. I just want to see the biggest place value by itself and nothing. I have a 2 and a 2. Can I tell which number is bigger using 2 and 2? No, they're both 2s. So I'm going to scooch over one place value. 4 and 4. Can I tell which number is bigger using 4 and 4? No. Again, it's the same thing. Scooch again. 9 and 9. Can I tell which number is bigger using 9 and 9? No, I gotta scooch again. 9 and 9. Can I tell which number is bigger using 9 and 9? Oh, again. Scooch over again. 9 and 3. Can I tell which number is bigger with 9 and 3? Yes, finally I can tell which number is bigger. Who can tell me what number is bigger, 9 or 3? Nakai, which number is bigger?
9.
9. So this is my big number, my first one. And again, notice I didn't just start jumping around place values because I kept finding the same one. I moved slowly, one by one by one. And I finally found my answer. The first number is the bigger one. I can put a star, I can put the letter B, however I want to do it. Alright, well now I have a problem. I need to pick either F or G, which means I need to pick the right symbol. Who can tell me what symbol do I need for problem 2? Kylie? F, because if this is my big number, then my Pac-Man or my alligator or whatever I want to call it needs to be trying to eat that number. All right. Tonight, you have a little homework. When I say little, I really do mean a little. This same page, I want you to do problem 5 and problem 6. So just 5 and 6. Yes, Violet. Spelling, we're not gonna have homework this week because we're not starting today, but this week we're gonna be taking some tests and we're gonna talk more about them later on in the week. But we're not gonna have spelling this week. Yes, Kylie. Problem 5 and 6 on this page. That's our homework. So problem 5 and problem 6 only. You don't have to do 3 and 4. You don't have to do 7, 8, 9, or 10. Just 5 and 6. Yes, Alexa. Yeah, you can go ahead and put it away.